Hi my dear students, welcome back to this session. So in this session, I am going to discuss the science key answers for the model question paper 2 which is being released by our KSEEB board. See, in the previous session, I had also explained you the key answers of model question paper 1. Hope you all have found it useful. Okay, see, one good news is there for you. What is that good news? You know, when we look at both the model paper 1 and the model paper 2, both the papers are very, very easy. See, out of 100%, if we think out of 100%, 90% of the questions are direct and it is very, very easy to answer. Okay, everybody, all of you can answer. Okay, every day keep practicing, don't lose the practice, understand? So if you keep on reading the 1 mark questions and the statements present in the textbook, definitely everyone can score 40 on 40 in the science. Okay, so without delaying much, let us start today's session. If you are visiting my channel for the first time, I request you to subscribe and share my channel link with your friends also. Okay, so as usual, I'm starting with the chemistry answers first, then I'll move ahead to the biology and physics will be explained by the Deepa ma'am. So the first question is, when a copper is exposed to air for a long time, it acquires a green coat. Okay, so because it reacts with what? And the options given here are sulfur, nitrogen, moist oxygen and moist carbon dioxide. See, it is very easy to answer. See, when the copper is reacting, when it react with the moist carbon dioxide, see, when the copper react with the moist carbon dioxide, what happens? There is formation of copper carbonate. Actual equation is like this. See, copper react with the atmospheric gases. So atmospheric gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide, and there is also presence of water. So this is the actual equation. Okay, so when the copper is reacting with all these things, what happen? There is a formation of copper hydroxide and also copper carbonate, and this copper carbonate is the green color layer, understand? So here, which is the moist atmospheric gas? The moist atmospheric gas is carbon dioxide. So when the moist carbon dioxide react with the copper, there is a formation of copper carbonate. Because of the formation of copper carbonate, we can see the green color layer on the copper. And this process is called as a corrosion. You know what is corrosion, right? Everybody remember what is corrosion, right? So here what is happening? Copper is reacting with the moist carbon dioxide. So that is the reason a green color coat is formed. Okay, here the correct option is the option D. That is the moist carbon dioxide. Option D is the correct answer. Moving to next question. Okay, the number of single bonds and double bonds present in structure of benzene molecule. See, we have to count how many single bonds and double bonds are there. So to find, let us write the structure of benzene. Let us write benzene. Benzene is C6H6. Okay, so when we write the structure of benzene, we will be having 6 carbon atoms. There will be alternate single bond and double bond. Single bond and double bond, and it is also surrounded by 6 hydrogen atoms. So as per your question, you have to find how many double bonds and also how many single bonds are there. You have to find out. Let us find out first the number of double bonds. See, you can see there is 1, 2 and totally 3. 3 double bonds are there. Let us first check the number of single bonds present between the carbon and hydrogen. See, it starts from here 1, 2 and then 3, 4, then here it is 5 and here it is 6. Totally there are 6 single bonds between the carbon and hydrogen. So let us move now to count the number of single bonds between the carbon and carbon. So after 6 it is 7 and then it is 8 and here it is 9. So totally 9 single bonds are there. So 9 single bonds and 3 double bonds are present in the benzene structure. Very, very easy to identify. If you just write the structure of benzene, you can easily identify How many single bonds are there? How many double bonds are there in between the carbon and carbon and carbon and hydrogen? So here the options given are 6 and 6, 9 and 3, 7 and 5, 3 and 9. So option D is the correct one. Okay. So moving to the next question, the gas liberated when the sodium carbonate reacts with the dilute hydrochloric acid. See, very easy. Let us write the equation. So the gas released when the sodium carbonate's formula is NaCO3, Na2CO3. So when it reacts with the dilute hydrochloric acid, what is formed, you know? So there is formation of sodium chloride and also carbon dioxide along with the water. So this is what formed when the sodium carbonate is reacting with the dilute hydrochloric acid. So these are the products we get. Understand? So here the options given are which gas is released, you have to identify. Hydrogen gas, chlorine gas, nitrogen dioxide gas and also the carbon dioxide gas. See, if you observe the product which we obtained here, carbon dioxide gas is released when the sodium carbonate is reacting with the hydrochloric acid. We can observe there is release of the carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so according to our option here, the option D, carbon dioxide, is the correct one. Okay, so the next question is the common molecular formula for both cyclopropane and also the propene. See, it's very easy. If you know the general formula, easily you can write. See, cyclopropane, its general formula is CnH2n. Okay, so propene, when we write propene, its general formula is also CnH2n. Propene, ene means alkene. Alkene's general formula is the CnH2n. Okay, here cyclopropanes, that means the cycloalkane's general formula is also CnH2n. So as it is prop, okay, let us substitute n is equals to 3. So when we put n is equals to 3, we get C3H, 2 into 3 is 6. So 2 3 is 6. Here also when we substitute n is equals to 3 for the same formula, we get C3H2 3 is 6. So C3H6 is our common formula that is there for cyclopropane and also the propene. Both are having the common formula. Okay, so the correct option is option A, C3H6. Okay, moving to next question. The substance that changes the color of red litmus paper into blue color. See, if it has to change its color from red to blue, it has to be basic in nature. Okay, let us look at the options. See, the options are sodium chloride solution, lemon juice, pure water and sodium hydroxide solution. See, we have to know the pH values of these. See, when we look at the sodium chloride solution, so the pH of sodium chloride solution is 7. Okay, so second option is lemon juice. So the pH of lemon juice is 2. Moving to third option, pure water. So the pH of pure water is also 7. So what about sodium hydroxide? Sodium hydroxide is the base. Okay, so it is more alkaline in nature. So its pH value ranges between 13 to 14, depend on the solution. Here, compared to all the options, option D, that is the sodium hydroxide solution. So that is more basic in nature. Okay, so when we dip the red litmus paper inside the sodium hydroxide solution, automatically it will change its color from red to blue. Understand? So here the option number 4, that is D option, sodium hydroxide, is the correct one. So moving to next question, the amphoteric oxide among the following is. Here some options are given. So before marking amphoteric oxide's answer, you must know what is the definition for amphoteric oxide. See, amphoteric oxides are the metal oxides which react with both acid as well as base. Okay, so in the textbook you also have example for it, that is aluminium oxide and zinc oxide. Do you remember? Aluminium oxide and zinc oxides are the metal oxides. They have the nature, they will react with both the acids as well as the base. Okay, so let us look at the options here. See, when we look at the options here, sodium oxide, zinc oxide, calcium oxide and the potassium oxide, obviously the correct answer is option B, that is the zinc oxide. Zinc oxide is the metal oxide which will react with both the acid as well as the base. Okay. The next question is an alloy that is made up of copper and tin is. Okay. And the options are brass, solder metal, bronze and also stainless steel. Hope everybody remember metals and non-metals lesson. In the metals and non-metals lesson, you have a concept called alloy. What is meant by alloy? Alloy is nothing but it is the mixture of two or more metals or a metal with the non-metal, right? So here the alloy consists of some mixture of metal. So in the question they are asking about the copper and tin. See, copper and tin is the alloy of bronze. What about brass? When we talk about brass, it is the alloy of copper and zinc. Correct. So when we talk about the stainless steel, it is an alloy of the iron and nickel. Iron, nickel and chromium. Correct. So all these things you have studied. Hope you all have remembered when I was teaching about the metals and non-metals lesson I told. Okay. So here the correct answer is the option C, that is bronze. Bronze is the correct answer. So the next question is, when a carbon dioxide reacts with the calcium hydroxide salts and water are produced, then the nature of carbon dioxide is. See, very easy to identify the nature of carbon dioxide. Here the options given are, okay, acidic, metallic, both acidic and basic and basic. See, very simple. Whenever we talk about the carbon dioxide, okay, carbon dioxide is acidic in nature. It is acidic. Okay, it is not basic, it is not metallic. Carbon dioxide is acidic in nature. Okay, very easily we can say, remember this. So here the correct answer is the option A, it is acidic. So moving to next question. The next question is, the three elements were written in the order of increasing atomic mass. The atomic mass of the middle element was roughly the average of the atomic mass of the other two elements. So this law was stated by, everybody remember, right, the laws present in the periodic classification of elements. So this law is stated by Dobereiner. According to Dobereiner triad law, what happened? The atomic mass of the middle element is the sum of the average of the other two elements. So this is the law stated by Dobereiner. Newland's law is different. Newland's law says every eighth element has a similar property to that of the first one. Correct. So here the correct answer is Dobereiner. Okay. So the next question is, carbon has the ability to form bond with the other atom of carbon, giving rise to large molecule. So this unique property of the carbon is, so many times whenever I did the carbon and its compounds revision, I told about this particular question. Previous revision classes also I told about this particular property. Carbon is having a special feature. Okay, so it can bond with the other carbon atom. So thereby it can form the long state chain, branched chain and also the cyclic chain. Okay, so what is this property name? This property name is called as a catenation. Okay, so let us look at the options. See, the options given here are saponification, catenation, hydrogenation, esterification. See, saponification, esterification, hydrogenation is not at all the property of carbon. It is the process. Okay. So here the correct answer is option B, catenation. Carbon is having the linking property. That linking property of the carbon is called as catenation. Okay. So now let us look at the next question. So the next question is the group of compounds which are in the homologous series. You can look at the options on the screen. So CH4, C2H6, C3H8, CH4, C2H4 and C2H2, CH4, C3OH and HCHO, C2H2, C3H6 and C4H10. See, it is very easy. When you substitute the formula, you will get the answer. When you look at the first option, let us look at the first option. See, the first option is CH4. It is CH4 and also C2H6 and also it is C3H8. So this is the first option given. What is meant by homologous series? Homologous series are the group of compounds where there will be difference of CH2 in the successive members. So we should have the CH2 difference in the successive members. Can you observe here from this compound to this compound, okay, there is one carbon difference and two hydrogen difference. And from this compound to this compound, you can observe there is one carbon difference. C2, C3, one carbon difference. H6, H8, we have two hydrogen difference. So option first is the correct one. You can substitute the same thing with this. You can also check whether there is a CH2 difference between the other three options also. See, the second option is CH4 and C2H4. See, CH4 and C2H4 does not have any difference of CH2 here. That means according to our homologous series, there should be difference of one carbon atom. So yes, of course, there is one carbon atom difference. But when we look at the hydrogen, there is no difference in the hydrogen atom. So option 2 is not correct. Third option is the CH4 and CH3. So when we look at the third option, there is no difference of CH2 group in that. So we cannot take the third option. And even the fourth option, C2H2 and C3H6, see C2H2, C2H2 and C3H6. When we look at this, there is one carbon difference, but there are four hydrogen atom difference you can see. So here option number B, option number C, option number D are not correct. First option is the correct one, that is CH4, C2H6 and C3H8 are in the homologous series. Okay. So now let us look at the last question in the chemistry part. The number of periods and groups in the modern periodic table respectively. Everybody know, no need to read the options, right? See, in the modern periodic table, we have 7 periods, and we also have the 18 groups. We can see in the modern periodic table, there are 7 periods and 18 groups. So if we look at the options here, option A is 7 and 18, option B is 7 and 9, option C is 18 and 7, and option D is 9 and 7. So which is the correct option here? Option A is the correct one because it has the 7 periods and also the 18 groups. Okay, first you have to look at what is given. Whether first they have given periods or group. Okay, groups and periods means it will become 18 and 7. So they are asking periods and groups. So you have to write 7 and 18. So the first option is the correct one. Okay. So now we have completed with the chemistry part. So let us start the multiple choice questions from the biology. Okay. So the first question here is the main function of abscisic acid hormone in the plant is. See, everybody know that there are 4 plant hormones. See, among the 4 plant hormones, 3 plant hormones are growth promoters. That means the auxin, gibberellin and cytokinin. They are called as growth promoters. What about the 4th hormone? 4th hormone is the abscisic acid, and the abscisic acid is called as the growth inhibitor. Understand? So here our question says the main function of abscisic acid. So what does abscisic acid do? Abscisic acid will stop the growth of the plant. It inhibits the growth of the plant. Okay. So here the correct answer is the option B. It inhibits the growth of the plant. Okay. So the next question is the common part among the following that is found in the reproductive system both in the flowering plants and in the human is. Such a simple question. See, let us read the options first. Vas deferens, anther, ovary, style. See, when we talk about the flower and the human, first option vas deferens is not there in both the cases. So looking to the second option, anther is there in the flower but not in the human. But the third option, ovary, of course, ovary is present in the flower in the female part, and ovary is also present in the human female reproductive system. Looking to fourth option, style is present in the flower but not in the human beings. So here the correct answer is the option C, ovary, because it is present in flower as well as in the human. Okay? So the next question is, which of the following is an inherited trait? See, the options are given here. Before reading the options, you should know what is inherited trait. Inherited trait means the trait which pass from one generation to another generation through the genes. Okay, options here are reduction in the weight of organism due to starvation. Definitely, it will not pass from one generation to another generation. Okay, so because it is the lifetime changes. Next, removal of tail in the mice by surgery. If we remove the tail of mice by doing surgery, its progeny will be born with the tail. Okay, because it is artificially done during its lifetime. So second option is also not correct. Moving to third option, development of muscles in athletes. See, when we look at the third option, development of muscles is also happening in the lifetime. Okay, so it is not inherited from parents to offsprings. So third option is also not correct. So when we talk about the fourth option, that is a type of earlobe, yes, of course, see, free earlobe and attached earlobe are the two types of earlobes you have. Okay, so we can see generally in the human beings, we can see free earlobe and the attached earlobe. If parents are having the attached earlobe, both the parents, because it is a recessive trait, then the progeny is also born with the attached earlobe. If the parents are having the free earlobe, then the progeny is also born with the free earlobe. So this is happening because of the control of genes. Okay, so here the types of earlobe is considered as the inherited trait because it will pass from one generation to another generation. So here the correct answer is the option D. Okay, so the next question is the blood vessels that carry the blood from different parts of the body to heart. And the options given here are arteries, capillaries, veins and pulmonary veins. Everybody know, right? The blood vessels which carry the blood from heart to different parts of the body is arteries. Whereas the blood vessels which carry the blood from different part of the body to heart it is none other than veins. What about pulmonary veins? Pulmonary vein is the only vein which carries the oxygenated blood to heart. Understand? So another option given here is the capillaries. Capillaries are considered as the thinnest blood vessels. Okay, so here the correct answer is the veins. So the option C, veins, is the correct answer. So the next question is the correct path of urine flow in the human excretory system. Okay, let me write the human excretory system's rough diagram. So when we write, see, I just write roughly the diagram of human excretory system. So it will be somewhat like this, right? So first there will be kidney, okay, then there will be ureters. These are called ureters. This is called as urinary bladder, and from urinary bladder the urine passes through urethra. Through urethra the urine will pass. Okay, so without reading the options only you can find out what is the correct option here. Okay, see, the first option is like this: kidney to ureter, ureter to urethra. No, from ureter it will reach to urinary bladder, so it is not correct. Second option, kidney to urinary bladder. From kidney it will not directly reach to urinary bladder, there is a tube in between. So second option is also not correct. So when we look at the third option, kidney, ureter, urinary bladder and urethra. See, you can observe here kidney to ureters, from ureters to urinary bladder, and from urinary bladder the urine will pass out through urethra. Okay, so the fourth option is urinary bladder and kidney. See, urinary bladder does not come before the kidney. Understand? So here the correct answer is option C. So looking at the next question, which of the following is the biodiversity hotspot? When I say biodiversity, it consists of plants, animals, microorganisms and all the other things in the environment. Okay, so it is a straight statement. The biodiversity hotspot is the forest. Okay, see here the options given are the deserts, rivers, oceans and the forest. See, forest is the correct answer. Okay, so moving to next question. The growth of pollen tube towards the ovules in the flowering plants. Okay, So options are chemotropism, phototropism, geotropism and hydrotropism. Very simple, First you should know what is meant by these tropisms. Okay, tropic movements. What is meant by chemo? Chemotropism means here the response will be towards the chemicals. Phototropism means the response will be towards the light. Hydrotropism means response will be towards the water. Whereas the geotropism means the response will be towards the gravity. Okay, so here the question says the growth of pollen tube towards the ovule. So that is a chemical reaction. Understand, it is a chemical reaction. So the answer is the chemotropism. Chemotropism is the correct answer. So option A is the correct answer. Moving to next question, a group contains only biodegradable substances among the following is. Options are polythene, wood, leather, leather, detergent, plastic, wood, grass, leather, paper, bakelite and grass. Obviously, in the first option, we have a polythene, which is not the biodegradable one. So, we should eliminate that. Second option contain plastic in it. It is also not biodegradable. So, we can also eliminate that. Third option contain wood, grass, leather. All the three things can be easily biodegradable. So, option C is the correct answer. Looking to fourth option, paper, bakelite, grass. Bakelite is not considered as biodegradable. Understand? So option C is the correct one. So the next question is the part of the human brain that controls all the involuntary actions like salivation and also the blood pressure is. Okay. So the options here are pons, medulla, cerebrum and cerebellum. So I don't want to discuss again each function because in the previous sessions I told. Okay, so you can check out the function of human brain if you want. I will give the link in the description box below to know the functions of each and every part of the brain. So here the part which controls the involuntary actions like salivation and the blood pressure is the medulla. So the correct answer is option B. So the next question is which of the following is not a part of human female reproductive system? See here some of the options are given: ovary, uterus, vas deferens, fallopian tube. See ovary, uterus, fallopian tube, all these three are the parts of human female reproductive system. Whereas the vas deferens is the part of the human male reproductive system. So here the option which you have to eliminate is option C, that is vas deferens is not the part of human female reproductive system. So the next question is the main purpose of constructing the water harvesting structures is to. And the options are hold rainwater on the surface of earth, use of water for irrigation, use of water for fish farming and recharging the groundwater level. See, the main purpose of constructing the water harvesting structures is to recharge the groundwater level. So, option D is the correct one. Moving to next question, the pure tall pea plant is crossed with the short pea plant. The ratio of pure tall pea plant to short pea plant produced in the F2 generation. See, when capital T, that is tall pea plant, crosses with small t, that is dwarf pea plant, in F1 generation we get tall pea plant. Okay, so they are asking about F2 generation. So in F2 generation what happened? On segregation we get the alleles like this. In the previous session also I told capital T, small t. So when we cross capital T, we get capital T, then capital T, small t and small t. So here we got 3 tall and 1 dwarf. So the ratio is 3:1. In the F2 generation we get 3 tall plant and 1 dwarf plant. About this particular topic many times I have revised, understand? So I don't want to go in detail in this session also. So when we do this monohybridization, we get in the F2 generation 3:1 ratio. Okay, so let us look at the next question. The next question is the wings of a bat and the pigeon are the examples of. Options are analogous organs, vestigial organs, homologous organs, adoptive organs. You know what is meant by analogous organ and homologous organ, right? So here the wing of the bat and the pigeon, they both are different in structure, but they serve for same purpose, that is the flight. Okay, so here the correct answer is analogous organs, because it is the statement of analogous organ. Clear? By explaining the 80th question, I have completed the chemistry and the biology multiple choice questions answers. Okay, so the physics answers will be explained by the Deepa ma'am, that is the 14 multiple choice questions, because the explanation is very, very important when you are marking the answer, because you should know why I am marking that answer. Hopefully you all have learnt a lot of things in this session also. Your examination will be 100% easy. All of you can do excellent in the examination. Hope everybody is preparing well. Read the textbook and follow the videos which we are posting for your preparation for board examination. Definitely you all can reach your target. And thank you so much for watching all my videos and supporting me. Your support is the biggest strength for me. Okay, all the best for everyone. Prepare well for your examination.